Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart. Today we are talking Purdue at Notre Dame. To the left of me, Adam Trigger at Top Flight SI on Twitter, and Dave Koken to my right at Dave Koken on Twitter. Make sure you're giving both those guys a follow. They both give out a ton of free plays and really great information. Dave, I'm going to start with you. The dog has my eye on this one, and it has nothing to do with head coach Jeff Brom. It has everything to do with the other side and Brian Kelly. And I think that we saw week one against the Florida State Seminoles, them play a lot of prevent defense and give up some late plays to go to overtime. And then last week we saw Notre Dame really struggle with a tricky Toledo squad. I like Purdue here. I'm just not sure they can get the outright win on the road.
Yeah, this is maybe the most fascinating game in the schedule for me, because when I did my numbers on this game, I had Notre Dame minus 10. And this line's gone down to 7. So that would normally be a game where it's like, I might want to take a shot on value with Notre Dame. But I don't like the matchup very much. Now, I still don't have a good read on the Irish, because the truth is, look, they were up 18 in the fourth quarter against Florida State. They handled that team pretty well, and that was before a really jacked-up crowd, national TV standalone game against a really fired-up Florida State squad. So that was actually pretty impressive. The fact that Florida State caught them late was also impressive and told us some things about the Notre Dame defense. So they're a little bit vulnerable. But I'm not reading much into last week's game against Toledo because of the fact that the Florida State game was absolutely nuts. And I think Notre Dame was just dead flat last week against Toledo. They managed to pull out the game, and Jack Cohn came up big in the clutch. The problem I have here, and I normally would follow my numbers here, especially since there's now some value to be had of the Irish. The problem is the matchup. And I'm not really sure what to do with the matchup. Notre Dame can be exploited on the ground, but that's not really what Purdue does. They want Plummer standing back there and throwing the football. I think Notre Dame can handle him defensively, so I'm not crazy about the matchup from a Purdue standpoint. But at the same time, Purdue's had plenty of game film now to look at, and they might vary their game plan a little bit and try and go a little more run heavy to try and take advantage of what looks like a potential weakness on the part of the Irish. So officially, no play for me. Unofficially, I'm going to trust my numbers, Notre Dame minus the 7. But I think you can make a case for Purdue, and I'll be curious to see if Adam feels the same way.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because you do make a really good point, Dave, that now the Irish are undervalued, and I am not as high on the Irish as some. Adam, your thoughts on Notre Dame Purdue?
Well, Kelly, you know I love my underdogs too, and I would love to be on Purdue plus 7 with you here, but the truth is, a couple people I really respect, like Notre Dame here, and I've been an all-out fade of Notre Dame so far this season, so I'm going to stay away from the side in this one, and I'm going to look at the total. I think this goes over the 58 points. The Notre Dame defense really hasn't been great, specifically the run defense. I know that, Dave pointed out Purdue's more of a passing offense, but I do think they will generate enough in the run game to get going offensively here. Jack Plummer's a stud, and David Bell, their top receiver, is probably capable of winning one-on-one battles in this game. Jack Cohn, Notre Dame, that's probably been the bright spot for Notre Dame so far this season, other than the fact they're 2-0, has been the play of Cohn. And he knows this Purdue team well from his time with Wisconsin. I don't think there's going to be a shortage of scoring here. So I think Purdue can hang around. I agree with Dave. It's a tough matchup for them. But what I do see here is points, and I think this one gets over the total.
Okay, great stuff from Adam and Dave. Make sure you guys head over to our WagerTalk YouTube channel and check out all of our other videos.